On today's episode of Time About the Movies, we come to Harry Potter's final adventure. The penultimate part of it. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 of the two-part conclusion of the series that was supposed to be the end of the series, and then J.K. Rowling and Warner Brothers decided they needed more money, and then they made Fantastic Beasts, and we'll eventually get to that one down the road here. But we also had Paul Haggis's follow-up to Crash, his Oscar-winning Best Picture, with Russell Crowe trying to save his wife, Elizabeth Banks, from 20 years in prison, with the help of Liam Neeson in the next 3 days. So we'll take a look at these two movies today on November 19th, 2010. This is Time About the Movies.
Rated PG-13, in theaters and IMAX Friday.
Hey, what do you know? A broken clock is right every once in a while. Sean Edwards actually got a review that everyone liked, and not just a bad movie like Due Date. But welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. And today we are taking a look at the two films released on November 19th, 2010. And of course, the biggest of the two new releases is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. The beginning of the conclusion of the Harry Potter series. The first part of a series that has of a book that has a lot of stuff inside of it, so it made sense to split these movies into two parts in particular. And as we see here, it once again stars Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson as Harry, Hermione, and Ron and Hermione, and follows Harry Potter, who has been asked by Dumbledore to find and destroy Lord Voldemort's secret to immortality, the Horcruxes. Now, here's the thing with this particular two-part film. This is a film that, while it's still a really good movie, it is the one that is often usually one of the more, I wouldn't say hated ones, but more of the mixed opinion ones, because of the fact that, like with most two-part movies in particular, not really a whole lot happens in here. All the good stuff is saved for the second movie. And, we've seen so many examples of this. Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 is a perfect example. The Hunger Games, Mockingjay is a good example. But the big difference between those two movies and what Harry Potter did, Harry Potter, the thing with the first movie is, yes, there is a lot of dialogue in this movie. There isn't a whole lot of action overall. But like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of stuff in this book that was so crammed and so filled that they had no choice but to split it up into two movies. You can make the argument that they split it up into two because, holy crap, we can make so much money off of this. Which, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, they did it because there was so much stuff to work with here. And so, yeah, the first half is going to be kind of not the greatest of all, but it's still a good precursor to what eventually will become in the following summer with Part 2. And for that, I really enjoy this movie a lot. I don't think it's one of the better Harry Potter movies, but it's still a really good film overall. There's still a lot of great stuff in it. You do still like this chemistry between the three in general, and you do like the build-up to this event that's going to happen down the road. Do I wish there was some more stuff in there? Of course I do, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like what they gave us was not a great film at all. I mean, this is still a really solid film all across the board. And yeah, it does deliver what it promises. It's a penultimate beginning to the eventual end of the series coming up in the summer of 2011. And yeah, it has the same team who made the last movie, Half-Blood Prince, which was a good movie and very well done, and also Order of the Phoenix. And David Yates pretty much has taken control of this series ever since is all the way to the Fantastic Beasts series. But yeah, overall, yeah, not much more to say about this one except that it's a good movie. It's not one of the better Harry Potter movies, but it's a good precursor to what will eventually come in the summer, which I think is probably the best one of the entire series. The last one in the series, Deathly Hallows Part 2, but we still have a couple months before we get to that one. So, good movie, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Definitely worth a watch. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie and our last film here. Russell Crowe, Elizabeth Banks, and Liam Neeson starring in Paul Haggis's The Next 3 Days.
The next 3 days, rated PG-13, in theaters November 19th.
And yeah, I probably should have did my research before this. This was not Paul Haggis's follow-up to Crash. He actually did In the Valley of Ella before that in 2007. I should have known that because I think I covered that movie. But anyway, I think Craig Ferguson, when he had Russell Crowe on the show, pretty much summed up the best way to describe this movie in general.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's a movie. No gay vampires. No. No, it's a movie with movie stars doing stuff and drawing maps and things on things. And cops getting ready and the music going dun 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 dun. It's like a movie, like a proper movie where you go, yeah!
Yeah, it's a movie with movie stuff and maps and people and music going dun 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 dun. I mean, that's literally what this movie is in general, and a good concept. And you know, I'm a sucker for any movie that's set in downtown Pittsburgh. I mean, like I said, I live about 30 minutes away from there, but even then, this is one of those movies where it's just like, it's a good premise, but just not the best execution. You have a story where Russell Crowe plays a husband who takes extreme measures to break his wife out of prison after she is wrongfully convicted for the murder of her boss, and he gets help from, of all people, Liam Neeson. You also have Brian Dennehy and Olivia Wilde among the cast in here, and it's a movie where it isn't a bad movie per se, but it's just not as good as I think the premise really could make it out to be. The premise overall, I think, is very interesting and very well done. It's kind of like the opposite of The Fugitive, where instead of the guy being accused of a murder he didn't commit, now it's the guy's wife, where she's the one who's convinced of a murder she's convicted of a murder she didn't commit. And I think there's a good idea here and a good premise overall for what could make this work in general, but sadly, the movie just kind of goes down the formulaic territory, and this is based off of a French film, too. I've never seen the French film for this, but I feel like they changed a lot of things around here to try to make this more mainstream instead of just letting the film play out as it should. I mean, the acting overall is good. I mean, Russell Crowe and Liam Neeson are always going to turn in a good performance, and it's cool to see Elizabeth Banks in something that's not specifically a comedy in general. This was back when she was mostly known for her comedic roles, and we didn't even know that she was really a damn good dramatic actress, and she does pull it off here very well here. The performances are fine. It's the script that's a mess here. I mean, this is a movie that has one of the most... It takes a really good premise and turns it into one of the stupidest, lamest, predictable plot you can possibly imagine, and it just gets more complicated, and it's just kind of like, this should not come from the same guy who not only made an Oscar-winning Best Picture in Crash, but also wrote scripts for stuff like $1 Million Baby. I mean, Paul Haggis is not a hack person to make stuff like this. Like, this is writing on the same level as something like you would see out of the guy who wrote 88 Minutes. That's how bad the writing is here. And this is the fact that comes from Paul Haggis, who has several Oscars with him. It's just like, what are you doing, man? Like, this, they take a great concept and a good cast and do absolutely nothing new with it whatsoever. It is about as bland and as complicated and as implausible as you could possibly imagine. And that's where the movie really falls apart. I mean, this is a movie where it almost had a chance to work, but the script definitely needed another rewrite or two. I mean, this thing needed to be, you had to make it something unique and different, and not just a bland script in general where it just goes down into a lazy, complicated storyline that gets even more ridiculous as it goes along. It makes no sense how they handle this. It really frustrated me when I finally got to see this, because I was so looking forward to it because of the people that were involved in it, and it just didn't work in general, and it really made me mad coming out of it. Just like, man, this thing could have been something really good, and it just completely fell apart at the seams too quickly. And yeah, it's a disappointment on a number of different levels. For Paul Haggis, for Russell Crowe, for Elizabeth Banks, for Liam Neeson, for the plot in general. It just could have been something amazing, but they took the safe, marketable route, and it failed miserably on every single level. So yeah, you can avoid the next 3 days for pretty much the foreseeable future at this point. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we take a look at the last week of November 2010, Thanksgiving weekend, with 6 notable movies, some highly anticipated movies we've been waiting to get to, and certainly a number of interesting films to get to, including Disney's latest animated feature, Tangled. We have Cher and Christina Aguilera, with the latter in her feature film debut in Burlesque, Jake Gyllenhaal and Anne Hathaway starring in Edward Zwick's Love and Other Drugs, Dwayne Johnson starring in the action film Faster. We get to the year's Best Picture winner, which is one I've been building up for a while now because I really do not like this movie, and you're going to finally see me explain why that is. The King's Speech. We finally get to this film in particular, and we have a new holiday movie, and boy, it is one where, you know, just when you think it's bad enough to make a Nutcracker movie, try making a Nutcracker movie that is also an equivalent to Nazi propaganda. I'm not even kidding with you. This thing is, we'll talk about this one, The Nutcracker, The Untold Story. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just brace yourself, because, oh boy, this was a rough one indeed. But, We'll take a look at those 6 tomorrow on the show. So it should be a very good show indeed. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification button. Also, don't forget to hit our playlist, and also check out the last episode we did. Excuse me. But with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.